Hello everyone, welcome to Comfortable Shoes Studio. I'm Leslie and this is another episode of art making. In this episode I'm going to draw this dude. I haven't done a portrait on camera in a while. This is from Earthsworld and I just thought this guy had like a good look on his face. So I'm going to do two things in this episode. I'm going to draw him sort of in my usual portrait style, and I'm going to use fountain pens. I'm going to use a couple of different fountain pens to do it. Use some Fude nibs. I might pop out a Platinum Preppy, some extra fine. I don't know, I'm not exactly sure yet. And then I think I'm going to use some of my ink wash brushes that I put together a couple of episodes ago. I think I published that episode. I hope I published that episode. But anyway, I'm going to set this image from Earthsworld up so I can see it. I'll provide a link to it in the description. And if you've been here for a minute or you're just new here, I don't put Earthsworld's images up. I provide a link to them so that you can find them on your own. So I've been doing some more portraits just to kind of like, as I've been thinking about stuff at work. I've been doing some portraits. This is pretty flat, so I don't need to get out my little clips. But I think I'm going to go straight into it with the Jinhao. I don't remember which Jinhao this is. It's all metal. The body of the pen is not meant to be filled with ink, but I've filled it with ink. So I'm going to start with a quick ink sketch. I am using my typical Rohr and Klinger Latte sketch ink because that is my current fave. And you'll notice I am switching it up a little bit. I'm starting with the nose. So I often start with the eyes. I don't know why, but lately I have been starting with the nose. I kind of go back and forth between the nose and eyes for starting. My alarm's going off, so I'm not late to work. I feel like I have been saying that a lot lately. I've been doing these drawings not long before I leave for work in the morning, and as a result, that alarm keeps going off while I'm shooting a video. I could turn it off, but then I take a risk at being late to work, and I don't like being late to work. So just adding in a little bit of cross hatching. Get that laugh line in there. Edge of his nose. So one of the reasons I really like drawing, everyday people, and I know I've said this before, is we all got wrinkles in our face that you don't find in the sort of airbrushed portraits of celebrities. So, you already are, like, when you have the photos from magazines of celebrities, the photos are pretty airbrushed and cleaned up, so you don't see the sort of everyday aspect of folks in those photos. Whereas what I'm really interested in when I'm doing a portrait is, everyday people. And I know that's just not always the prettiest images. But I don't know, I think I'm more interested in everyday folks than I am in celebrity. And I think that's been the case for most of my life, but that's neither here nor there. Got some deep shadow in there around that lip. Got some deep shadows in there. And then just trying to give an indication of the goatee. But I also don't want to completely fill the face with cross-hatching or dots. All right, sideburns start about there. And then using the hair as the edge here. This guy's got ears that pop out a little bit there. And there's a bit of a shadow shape. And then that. All right, and then there's his jaw popping in. There we go. And then he's got quite close cropped hair, which does sit flat on the top. Then up here, again, I don't want to draw in every hair. What I'm doing is I'm just trying to capture the broken edge of his sort of, on a woman we'd call those bangs. I guess they're bangs on a man as well. And this guy has a kind of long, tall face, and I've definitely shortened that chin, but for a chin with a goatee, I can just come back down and add in some more texture to lengthen that chin a little bit. But again, it's a little wide. I think I made his eyes a little wide and didn't give myself enough height. But I am not going for, a perfect sort of portrait here. So we're just going to bring a little bit of a broken line. This side of the face there's a lot of shadow there. So we got a little bit of ear popping out. And then here, there's that. And there's a lot of shadow over here. And he's got some smile lines and laugh lines. And then there's the jaw. And I'm going to put that little fleshy divot for the ear. And then more shadow there. And then this, he's got that pretty slicked down. All right. I've got quite a bit more shadow in here. Now, I think I could just leave this black and white, and I'd be pretty happy with it. I'm going to draw that shirt collar in. Just to give an indication of it, because sometimes I like the floating head look. There's a collar there. A little button. Again, not striving for realism here. And this collar is a little too far out. But that's okay. Should have been closer up there. and got a cast shadow. I'm just gonna have that broken out because I'm going to use this side that there are sort of two levels of cast shadow in this portrait. There's a shadow on this side, which is very dark, and then this side is quite a bit lighter than that underneath the chin. So I'm going to get out my multiple ink wash brushes. I've got that's a gray, and then that's black. This is a medium earthy color. Then I've got some darker earthy colors, and I think that's all we're going to do. All right, so I'm going to start out with a medium dark. So this is a mid-tone. I don't have a lot of it left, so I've got a mid-tone, and I'm going to go through, and it will lift some of this ink because it's not fully dry yet, but I am going to really messily brush on this mid-tone. So what I actually really do like with this particular brush is that I am very much forced to work messy. This brush is kind of terrible, and it's just it's hard to make it be fussy. You can't be fussy with this particular brush. So yeah, I'm getting these messy midtones in, and then I'm going to come back in with the next darker shade, and you'll see how that works. But that's pretty wet. And I could hit it with the heat gun, but I'm not going to. So the good thing about this ink wash on this particular paper, I'm going to use actually the square medium. So I've got a mid-tone, and then I've got a slightly darker mid-tone. And you can see this mid-tone is actually quite a bit darker than the previous one. And I will be going back into this with another sort of layer of ink here. Let's get these cast shadows in. So yeah, okay. I think I need to, this is kind of where I want it to be. But up in here, I can really, I think, go in with a little bit more of that mid-tone. So with the brush working over this, you can actually do quite a few layers. And it will layer really, really nicely. So I'm going to go, this one's pretty light, so I'm going to add in, this is the same amount of ink to water as in that brush. And I'm also seeing in here, I should have preserved a little bit more of the whites. But I'm gonna go back in. I'm trying to keep some of the brushiness. I mean, to me, that's one of the reasons to use ink in one of these water brushes, is that you are preserving that brushiness. And this paper is good for that, because this paper is not great paper. But it is good for this. So I'm going to hit this with a heat gun. All right, little heat gun action. That really wrinkled up the page. I am seeing the areas where I went super dark with that ink I'm getting some bleed, a little bit of show through there. It's not really bleed through at this point. I'm gonna grab my clips, clip that down, because it's really annoying to be working and have to like fight the flatness of the page. All right, so now I gotta go back in and add my darks. And so this, you can see over here, the darkness of this brown ink. When this ink is used washed, it is very nicely yellow. It has a nice warm tone, and it does in like a pure ink as well. It's really nice and warm, but it gets really nice and dark on the page when it's layered a little bit. And yeah, I am really enjoying this blend of ink that I made. This guy's eyes are, I don't know if they're brown or not, but we're using sort of a monochromatic palette here, so we're gonna go with that. And I am using these very inexpensive water brushes from Amazon, which have some unintended blurping, which I'm not totally mad at, but every now and then I will push on it, and I will end up putting a big old blob of ink onto my page like I just did, unintentionally. Sometimes I do that intentionally, like I want like a nice blob of ink in a spot, but it's one of those things that every now and then these brushes will absolutely take me by surprise and leave me with a blob on the page. All right, so let's get some of the different tonality of the hair. And again, I'm trying to work a little looser. Get some brushiness in here. I think that's always nice. All right, I'm digging that. Trying to reshape the brush a little bit because it's a little harsh with it. All right. A technique I have wanted to try that I haven't had a chance to, and I don't think it's gonna last on this page, but I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna add some chalk, and I don't know how this chalk's gonna work. I'm gonna hit it with a heat gun, just because. All right, so I want to go back in here and add in some of the highlights with this chalk. This is very inexpensive chalk. I don't even know anymore what it came with, but what I'm trying to do is just add in some of the roughness. This is very, very rough chalk. What I do think is going to end up happening is it's going to not stick to the page. It's going to rub all over this page. That's okay. This is a sketchbook. And and I practice sort of a messy sketchbook style, so you're not getting, you know, perfect little sketchbook or a drawing book. All right, so got a little smearing going on, and this section up here, I want to erase some of the chalk up off of it. Yeah, this chalk is definitely gonna smudge, but we'll get a good picture out of it, and then I'll fix it with some hairspray and see what happens. Okay, so there's one drawing of this dude, and then I'm gonna turn him into a cartoon character. So you'll be able to see that as well. We're also gonna see how this audio is, because I got sent a new microphone set up to review. I'm gonna work on this side of the page. I think I might actually draw this dude a couple different ways, with a couple of different media, or tools media, but it's all gonna be pen and ink. But we're gonna test it out with a couple of different things. All right, so I've got a fude nib. I'm gonna go with the sailor fude nib, and we're gonna start. I might fill up this whole spread with sketches of this dude. All right, so he's got kind of a long, skinny nose. We're gonna start with a little teardrop shape for that, and then he's got these bushy but short eyebrows. And his eyes are hooded, and he's got these shapes under there. So I'm just trying to like figure out how I want to show him as a cartoon character. I think I would break that up a little bit more. We'll do that in the next version of this dude. So he looks a little mad. And actually, I think in the picture he also looks a little mad. So we're gonna do skinny face. Indication of hair like that. And then ears like that. So yeah, definitely angry looking dude. Let's come back, and I'm gonna start with the eye this time. So sometimes I do eyes like that, and so for this guy I think I'd put a little eyebrow like that, and then we'll put the eye shape like that. Worry lines, and come back in with another circle, the eye shape, bushy eyebrows, and then I think we're just going to do I always call it a W nose. That's a W nose. And we'll do the puffball for the chin. And again, tall, skinny face or head. And then ears. And then the indication of hair here. The thing that I like about using a fude nib is very much that it has a lot of expressive line quality that you don't always get with other markers or pens. All right, so I've got a Paper Mate Ink Joy. I'm gonna do another kind of cartoon of this guy. So I'm gonna start with the outline of the head, because I'm doing a big outline or oval for the head. And then I'm going to do a long, skinny nose. And then the eyebrows, short and bushy, coming off of that. And we'll do the indication of the goatee. Like that. And then again, the eyes, doing sort of the half circle shape and then the half circle on the underside. Got to get the bushiness of those eyebrows in. And then the hair. Just kind of roughing those in and then roughing in the ears. Breaking up the surface of that oval with some broken lines. And I think you could add in some of the lines around the face if you really wanted to. All right, let's try this. Let's try it and capture this dude's hair. So he's got kind of a smooth top and then broken line there, and then it comes down to the ear like that. There we go. And again, gonna do the long thin nose, little caterpillar squiggle for the eyebrows, and then his eyes or his eyelids, he's actually looking up at the camera I think a little bit, but his eyelids do go quite high up underneath those eyebrows, so that is a hooded eyelid. And you've got the worry lines there. I got a little bit of the cowlick there. All right. And then I'm going to bring those down. And you can change the tone of the character by changing the facial hair a little bit. So this guy just all of a sudden looks a lot meaner with that goatee blocked in a lot more black. And the mustache not being as fluffy as over here. And certainly part of that is because the goatee came down straight. So if you round that over, it's a little softer looking. And then you can add in sort of these lines around the face if you want. But that dude, probably a nice dude in real life, but looking super mean. That's a mean guy. But you can see the difference between like the loose sketchiness of this and how much stiffer the gel pen is. I'm going to pull out my trusty Uniball Bold, and all right, let's go back in and then do slightly different nose. I'm going over it a couple of times just to try and find the line. He's got those laugh lines, and then coming off of this are those caterpillar eyebrows of his. There's a lot of shadow around this guy's eyes too, so that you could use that as part of the character design. But when you're doing this, one of the things I have discussions with the kids all the time about how drawing from life can actually really improve. And improve is not the right word, because like I struggle with the word improve when it comes to making art, but it really does give you more information to draw on when you are drawing people. Like, I know a lot more about people, in part because I'm a therapist now, but also because I know a lot more because I've drawn so many people over the years. Like, I know what I'm looking at when it comes to drawing people. And because of that, I'm more informed in how I am creating my characters and creating these images. So you really alter what the character looks and feels like through what's going on with their face. All right, so I'm going to do a really skinny face here. Really bringing that up close to the eyes. And then we'll add in the hair. And because I didn't size this, I'm not going to draw over that character. But yeah, this guy looks disappointed in you and a little concerned. And also a little angry. So I'm not going to put the rest of the lines in the face. I'm letting the lines here do most of that work. So again, like, different line quality really like changes the face. Like, this is thick, it's bold. This is a little scratchier, little less strong, I guess is the right word. It seems a little more tentative in the line than something like these. Let's go all in. Is that... Yeah, okay. I'm going to use a brush pen. This is just like straight brown ink. I'm going to do some line work with it. And this is going to give an entirely different quality. So you see how different the line quality is from a brush like this. And this particular brush is not very precise. If I were using like my Pentel Pocket brush pen, this would be entirely different. So this particular brush pen is pretty hard to control and is pretty imprecise. So, but you could combine this with a pen and get a different quality entirely. But yeah, you can really change the look through the use of different pens, how fine it can be. Let's see if I can... I don't even know if you'll be able to see this. Like, what would this character look like from a distance? This is another Fude nib. Not great for detail, but there's the same dude repeatedly. So anyway, that's a pretty good drawing session for the morning. I drew this guy, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different ways. little nod to realism, and then some cartoony characters, just to kind of give you an idea of like the different feels you can get with different materials and how drawing from life can really inform your character design, and inform, you know, your cartoons and your comics. Like if you're drawing from life, like, you know, you could insert a character from your life into your journal. Like, that's me drawn repeatedly on a piece of map, and I'm going to insert that into my journal in different ways. All right, hopefully my microphone sounds good. There's a bunch of background noise. I don't know how it's going to sound, so we will find out together. Or actually, I'll find out before you when I'm editing this video. But go grab your sketchbook or your art journal. Draw a photo from Earthsworld. You draw it with some realism first, or a nod to realism. Draw with vibes in mind, and then come back in and draw that person a bunch of different ways with a bunch of your different materials, and really test out how different the feel is with different materials, and what are the things that you want to focus on. Are you making someone who looks really mad, or like someone who's just like, I'm super concerned at something you just did? Whereas like, this is the bad guy, unknown bad guy, in a action movie. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say thank you. I'll catch you next time. If you really enjoyed this, hit the thumbs up, and all that other stuff we always say at the end of our videos.